This is about the breakup of a relationship. You need a few things to understand about the breakup of a relationship. First, you need a mucker, a mate.
Right.
Glenbridge, this is the one that helped me with mine, but also taught me a few things, as well as I did teach him because he went through one as well. But losing a partner is in some ways feels just as bad as having the death of somebody. The only difference is that in a relationship, if you're married to somebody who dies, as terrible as that is, okay, you still have the memory of you and them together, and then the person passed, and the memory is somewhat, I don't know, clean, I suppose. When you split up with somebody, it's like they've died, because you don't, in normal cases, ever get to see them again, or if you do, very rarely, or even worse, if you get to see them, the chances are they might have their arm around somebody else. But we'll get onto that terrible awfulness in a minute. However, what you do have is the horrible anxiety and the mental torture, which you will put yourself through, by the way, of them doing something with that other person that used to be special to you. You get the idea. And this can lead on to all sorts of horrible thoughts: anxiety, stress, misery, depression, anger, and all the other things. And these are all grieving processes for a relationship that you will go through in the same way you did if somebody... So he's... By the way, I'll let me best mate in here. He comes in, he starts picking me fucking logs. What a great skill to have. Anyway, back to the topic. So this works for men and women. It is the same thing. Although women are, or do approach it from a different way. Blokes will act like they're hard as fuck to start with, and they won't say fuck all about it, and then they'll act like it's a good thing, right? And then they'll go on the piss, and some of them will try and fucking sow the seed or whatever. Where a woman will generally, at point of breakup, a lot of them will turn to tears, cry a lot, but they'll get over it a lot fucking quicker. I don't know why, but that generally seems to be the thing, or at least outwardly they generally get over it a lot quicker. I mean, some of them don't. I mean, some of them can be damaged for life in the same way blokes can. But after after it sets into a bloke that, fuck me, I'm single and that's it. Oh, and by the way, she's off with somebody else enjoying herself, if that is the case, which it fucks with your head. You have to go through, as I say, all the grieving process. So you go through the sadness, the anger, the happiness, the depression, the panic. I'm on my own, what do I do? Okay, but these are all bad things, but don't let them put you off splitting up if you are in a bad relationship. Now, I'll get around to that in a bit. But you have to understand that from the moment you break up, you're on a countdown back to some sort of normality, okay? And there is a process of all these different upsets and miseries, and it's not a nice experience that you will go through. But we also have to think is that life is a trade-off of hard work, misery, effort, and avoiding hard work. So if you're staying in a relationship and your life is suffering because that relationship isn't working, but you don't want to go through the breakup misery, you got to look at it this way. Yes, I will have a while of being utterly miserable, but weigh that off against 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, whatever, of being unhappy. Which is worse? Only you can make that decision. And inevitably, in the end, if it is a shit relationship that's doomed to fail, you will fail anyway and then have to go through it anyway. So you have to work out in every relationship, if you haven't split up with somebody and you're thinking about it, what's the good points? Do they outweigh the bad points? Am I happy? Am I sad? Could this be worked on and fixed? Because if so, fix it. You do not want to get on the dating scene. We'll do a video about that. That's carnage, by the way. But can I go through the misery? Well, that actually, you shouldn't think too much about that, because if you're in a bad relationship, sooner or later you'll end up meeting that. But if the relationship can be fixed, fix it, because I believe that people should work in relationships. Nothing's plain sailing. But if it is pretty knackered, speed camera, then you need to look at maybe ending it. And if you do, you have to think about all the processes you're going to go through. But understand this, that as I say, every day after you split up, it will be heading towards the direction of getting happier, getting yourself back. The one thing I did, I was in relationships. I was in a 12-year relationship, and I split up with that woman and left her for another woman. I was in a 12-year relationship. And I put a lot of my responsibilities on that woman because of laziness. We do this. And I actually became to the point where I thought that I couldn't look after me. You can, by the way. And we're going to show you through this channel all these different videos of how to do stuff for yourself. Cooking, cleaning, not much of ironing, by the way. Fucking hang the thing up, let it do itself. Or this is where you need a best mate actually who's good at ironing. Glyn, any chance? And over it goes. But no, I can iron for myself, but it's not my job. But yeah, the breakup. You will go through, as I say, immediately you'll go through misery, you'll go through the depression, you'll go through the anger, you'll want to do things to her and him. You'll have the most irrational thoughts going. This is normal, but you do have to fight them, by the way. But once you've gone through this process, generally most days will get easier. You'll have some bad days, you'll have knockbacks, right? But they will get easier and easier. And also, do what Glyn did. And then he did the same for me, by the way. When you're having a bad moment, you ring your mate up and say, explain to me why I'm single. What was the bad points? Because when you split up, you will see that person in rose-tinted glasses, right? Because you'll miss them. And it takes some blunt, horrible git mate of yours to be blunt and go, well, she did this, 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 she was bad at that, she didn't like this, she was horrible to that. And it kind of refreshes it, and it does help. A little. It did help a bit.
Helped a lot.
There you go. And also, we'll do it, that's a separate video actually. We'll talk about depression and how you need a best mate to be absolutely fucking brutal with you. Because being a pussy doesn't help. And in relationships, being a pussy doesn't help. But also going out and sowing your seed might help for some, didn't help for me, but it helped for Glyn. Glyn fucked his way through plenty of fish and every other sordid dating site, and but that worked for him. But you're an individual, whatever works for you, and I can't, personally it didn't work for me. But when I split up with my ex, I thought my world was over, and I was suicidal. To the point of actually trying to do something ridiculous. This is ridiculous, but you're not thinking straight. But what you need to do is take stock from your best friends, because they have your best interests at heart normally. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes your best mate will hate your ex because of they're taking up too much of your time. But if they're a bit like that, they're not your best mate. But you have to rely on them, and when they say, man the fuck up, you're being a bit of a pussy, take their advice, because you're generally being a whiny bitch. Alright? Because all the time you stay in that whiny I'm the victim stuff, you ain't going to get out of this miserable state that you're in, okay, and you won't move forward with your life. Because chances are she's gone through the stages you're doing now, or, you know, I'm talking to the lads here, chances are she's probably gone through this stage, because women can be fairly mercenary about this. Yeah, go on.
Interesting fact.
Go on.
They asked people who were splitting up, why haven't you left yet? You know, why are you in an unhappy relationship? Why haven't you left yet? Most of the men said, well, I don't really want to upset the woman. Most of the women said, because I haven't found anyone else yet.
Now that's mercenary. But unfortunately, I could be doing faster. The human build-up, or the way a man's built and the way a woman's built, are different, regardless of what the new world tells you. And they're different for a reason, because she's geared up to do certain things, he's geared up to do other things. But she is predominantly geared up in the back of her head to look for the strongest person she can, the one that can provide and the one that can look after. So that when she said that she didn't leave because she hasn't found anybody else yet, she actually fucking meant it in a lot of cases. And that's the way they're geared. They're not geared to go out into nowhere with nothing in place, because they've got kids, some of them, whatever. Now, a lot of women are watching this going, oh, that's not true. Look deep into your soul and tell me that, all right? Because being honest with yourself is what this channel's about, all right? And being honest with yourself will repair you a fuck sight quicker than going along with the bullshit narrative and lying to yourself. And unfortunately, both sexes are very good at times, going past the spandex freaks at the moment, big wide berth. Yeah. Unfortunately, both sexes are incredibly good at lying to each other, because that's the way we've been done right lately, and then this doesn't help. So, is it going to work? Yes or no? Right? Chances are, if you're thinking about this, the chances are it might not be working. But if it can be saved, fix it. If it can't, get on with the process, tidy it up, and make as clean a break as possible. Then you'll need to watch the next video of how to cook for yourself, how to do the washing for yourself. We're going to set up a washing machine in a bit. That'll be on the channel. How to do simple things like that, because when you break up, some blokes can't look after themselves. That is an embarrassment, and you need to look at that, all right? And this channel is going to help you get over that. We're also going to invite in Uncle Matt. He has a cookery lesson thing, but he's going to show you He doesn't know this yet, so Matt, if you're watching, well done. All right, he's going to show you how to take the most basic ingredients and make something quite edible out of it in about 5 minutes. Because, as I say, a lot of you are going to split up. You won't know how to use a washing machine. I'm going to show you how to do that, right? A lot of women don't know how to use a washing machine, not just men. So we'll show you the real basics, what you need to know to get you by. After that, read the fucking instructions. Or there is some boring cunt out there that's actually made a YouTube video in great detail about what every function does. Sorry, love, I got a life. I'm not going to do that. I'll get you through the basics. But we're going to do this. How to change a tyre, how to do all the other things. But this was advice about breaking up. Do not offset the rest of your life in bland unhappiness because you haven't got the minerals to face the terrible upset that will come after a breakup. Because, as I say, it gets better and it gets better quickly. And I have to say, Bacon Rosa, Cozza, my life is so much better now because after the breakup, I had to learn how to balance my bills. I had to learn how to look after a flat, wash, iron, cook, clean, shop. I had to learn to be completely responsible for myself rather than putting it onto a woman who I thought actually knew better than me, which, yes, they're very good at balancing a house, a lot of them, right? But you should be too. So the breakup, once you got through the breakup, the misery and all the rest of it, and you've learned all these other things, you will find yourself to be incredibly happy with your new responsibilities and freedom. And believe you me, it starts with the little things. Do the washing up in the sink. If you can't manage that, well, you ain't going to manage the rest of it. Anyway, that's a video for later. And this channel is all about building up men. But also, there's going to be a lot of stuff on here for women, all right? Because if it's useful information, it doesn't matter which sex you use it. So there you go. Anyway, we're off to buy a washing machine now, lads. Wish us luck.